The entertainment industry used to be localized. You had to be in Los Angeles or in New York or in Hong Kong. But like you said, anybody with a phone now, they can put their ideas out, which is awesome for the world.
Yeah.
And then if they are great, people will see that they're great and they will get opportunities because of that, no matter where you live.
The following is a conversation with Omar, a YouTuber, stuntman, and parkour/world chase tag athlete who is based in Los Angeles. With a passion for pushing boundaries and inspiring others to take chances in their own lives, Omar has used his athletic abilities to break into the entertainment industry and make a name for himself in commercials, music videos, TV shows, and movies. In this episode, we delve into his story from growing up in Virginia to finding his love for parkour and how it has taught him to overcome fear and doubt in all aspects of his life. Join us as we explore the mindset and techniques required to overcome fear and take that leap towards your dreams.
All right, Omar, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and chat with you.
Thank you so much for your time and for doing this. All right, dude, tell us in short, like, what do you do?
Oh, God. Okay. We'll break it down into three main things. I am a YouTuber, I am a stuntman, and I am a parkour athlete / world chase tag athlete. There's a new sport that's taken off right now called world chase tag. It's like the most extreme version of tag that you could ever imagine, and I've now done 5 competitions of that.
I saw that. It looks so much fun.
Yeah, so I live in Los Angeles. I've been living here for 7 years now. YouTube is what kind of helped me start breaking into the entertainment industry. And since I've been, spending the past 7 years living here, breaking into the industry, I've now done, I work in commercials and music videos on TV shows and movies, as well as continue to run my own YouTube channel and then compete in a parkour and world chase tag on the side. So those are like the 3 main umbrellas.
Super interesting. And what inspired you to pursue a career in the entertainment and stunt industry?
I mean, if we're being honest, like I think I've always been like kind of a show off, which is kind of can be one of the paths that leads to the entertainment industry is I like doing things. I like learning skills. I like, for me, I don't know, I see a lot of people that hold back in their own life in terms of, pursuing their passions, pursuing their potentials, in believing in themselves. And I believe that that's something that I've been gifted with, is because I've had incredible support from my family in my life. And that has kind of allowed me to take a lot of these bigger leaps and to have this confidence in this image and this idea of myself that I can create. And because I had that great support system, I want to do everything that I can to just be another example for somebody else to take chances in their own life and not live safely as this is the ultimate struggle that we as humans deal with is living within our safety boundaries or kind of venturing outside of that. And entertainment, the entertainment career felt like that to me was going to be where I could succeed the most, where I was the most passionate about learning skills, about being on camera, about making videos that would hopefully inspire other people to just find what they're passionate about and then go after it with everything that they've got.
Yeah, and I can see that also on your Instagram bio. The first thing it says, seeking a 1% kind of a life.
Yeah. I recently changed that. It used to say, like, striving to make my 12-year-old self, whatever, to impress my 12-year-old self.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I've grown into like a slight variation on that, which is, not to live a common life.
I love that. And have you always been like athletic since you were a child?
Yeah. Yes, I have. Yes, I've always definitely been more on the natural side. Like, I did have to work at it. But also I was doing sports when I was really, really young. So maybe that early exposure is what, like, I don't know, awakened like the athlete inside me. Because when I was probably like 3 or 4 or 5, I think my mom had enrolled me in like some martial art, like some super random like martial art classes for like a couple months as like a 5-year-old. So you don't become like a good martial artist when you're 5. Then
Right.
we moved because I was born in Dubai, and then my family moved to Virginia, where I then grew up. And when I got to Virginia, my mom was like, Omar, you can either do like gymnastics or you can do soccer. And this was like presenting this to a 6-year-old child. I was like, what do you want to do? And I picked soccer. And so then I played soccer for 10 years, and she also enrolled me in a swim team. I think, she just really believed that children need to be, if a parent can provide the means for their children, then they need to be exposed to multiple different areas. Like both my brother and I were in sports. We were both in music. And then, she's also just trying to encourage us to just whatever we were doing, she would encourage it. And for me, I really leaned into the sports and went from soccer to swimming to volleyball, dabbled in rock climbing. And then everything kind of changed when I found parkour when I was 16. That was like a landmark moment in my life.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Parkour.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I'm in Los Angeles, is because I found parkour. And like I totally forgot to say track. I ran track for like 12 years. That was like the thing that that was the sport that I was the best at. So that was weird that I forgot that.
Right.
But like I enjoyed all of these sports, but when I found parkour, that was the one thing. The way I describe it is, it was the one thing that nobody had to tell me to practice. All the other sports that I did, I was on the school team or whatever, another team, and I would only ever practice at the organized practice. But parkour was like, I very quickly became obsessed with it with my best friend Adam, and every day we were watching YouTube videos. We were going to the gyms to just like try to learn anything that we could on our own, like throwing ourselves into a foam pit, trying to figure out how to do a front flip and a back flip, and it took over our life. And yeah, that like set me off on a catalyst that has led me to living and working in Los Angeles in the entertainment industry now.
What do you think is it about parkour that really sparked that, inside of you, that you didn't need anyone to tell you to practice?
I think there's a couple things. First off, like I did say I was like, a big show off earlier, but I think it's because like, if we're getting like psychological about this, it's like, okay, if you're a show off, why are you a show off? And I think I've determined that it's like, I wanted validation from other people. Like I didn't feel like I was maybe talented enough or attractive enough or whatever. And so me as a show off, that was my attempt to get validation from other people, to impress whatever cute girls in my school class, to try to get attention from them. But parkour is a very showy like activity. People are running up walls, they're doing backflips off of things. You could see like, Jackie Chan is obviously doing like parkour in his early movies, and it felt very superhero, and it felt very unorthodox. And I always wanted to be different. Soccer is great, but how many people in the world play soccer? Track or swimming, like these are some of the most popular sports in the entire world. And so discovering parkour was kind of like this underground thing when I found it in 2010. And it just like, and there was something about it where you have this constant feedback loop with parkour, where the goal of parkour is to like do things. Like, let's say you want to jump like 6 feet from one obstacle to another obstacle. When you make that jump, you get this immediate like sense of accomplishment, that it's like, oh, I just did this thing. Like when you're playing soccer, like I think the only time you would ever really like have that feeling is if you like score a goal, like a penalty kick or something. But so like that feedback loop doesn't happen very often, where you feel proud of the individual thing that you did. Soccer feels more like exercise than like individual accomplishments that allow you to track your progress and grow. But parkour is this constant like battle and assessment with yourself of like, okay, I think I can jump 6 feet. And then you jump 6 feet and you go, oh my gosh, I was right. Then you go to 7 feet. And then you go to 8 feet or 2 meters or 2.5 meters or whatever. And then same thing with climbing a wall or learning a backflip. Like you're constantly confronted with physical challenges that, as you conquer them, you prove to yourself that you can conquer these challenges, and it kind of forces you to start second guessing the doubt that you feel. Like, I think that's the biggest like mental takeaway that I've gotten from parkour, is because pretty much with every new challenge that you approach, usually like the brain, the first thing it says is, whoa, I can't do that. But then you start working through it, and then you end up being able to do it, and then you go through that enough times, and you realize that this initial like fear and doubt that you have is usually wrong. You're like, every single time I feel that feeling, I decide to work through it anyway, and then I do it, which means that that feeling is a wrong feeling. It's invalid. And so like that takeaway allows you to like has kind of like infiltrated every aspect of my life. It's like every time I'm confronted with like a big fear or anxiety of like, oh, I don't think I can do this, I have to second guess that doubt and that fear, because it's been wrong so many times in the past, and I've proven that it's been wrong through all of these different things that I've learned. So that is an addicting feeling with parkour, and it makes you stronger physically, it makes you stronger mentally. I've met some of my best friends through parkour. It is what helped me get into filmmaking, which is now why I make YouTube videos, why I now have cameras and microphones and editing software. is it all stemmed from parkour.
Interesting. And that led me to this thought that, you know, parkour does seem like quite a dangerous sport, right? So and you did mention like overcoming fear and doubts. So how does one overcome fear? Let's say I'm doing this challenge right now, 30 days, where I go into the lake and it's like cold here, right? So it's like ice dipping, like ice swimming. And, you know, before you go in, you know it's going to be extremely cold, and you have this fear, right? You're battling like demons inside of your mind. And so what's your approach to overcoming fear in your life?
For me, there's two different things. There's exposure, which there's constant exposure. So like for you, like getting into the lake every day, like the more you do it, the easier it's going to become. Like that fear is always going to be there, but eventually you're like, a person will have built up such a track record of, it's like, okay, well, I've been afraid 100 days in a row, but I've also done it 100 days in a row. So now I know that I can do it. So that's just like continued exposure. And then like, I believe the fear will have less of a hold on a person when they have evidence to prove to themselves that they've gone through it many, many times. So that's like with something that's more of a mental fear, like you just said, like getting in a lake. That's not like physical danger. That's like mental danger. Parkour is more physical danger, but it's actually not that dangerous. Parkour athletes are some of the safest athletes I've ever met. And if you look at like what the highest rate of injuries in sports are, you have like football with concussions, cheerleading has severe injuries. But because, and that is for a lot of reasons. Like in football, obviously people are tackling each other. In cheerleading, they're getting thrown in the air by other people. Sometimes, 5 meters, like you have like women that are being thrown in the air, complicated patterns of flipping and whatnot. But parkour is an individual sport, which means if you get hurt, it's your own fault. There's no other variable to it. You can't blame it on somebody tackling you. You can't blame it on somebody dropping you, like in cheerleading. It's completely like self-reliant, which means you have to be smart. And parkour will teach you to be smart very quickly, because if you're stupid, you'll get hurt. But luckily, when people get injured, it's in the beginning because they're not smart yet. And the sport very quickly like teaches you in a nice way, in like a small injury, like a bruise, not anything crazy, that it's like, hey, if you don't treat me, the sport, if you don't treat parkour seriously, like you will get hurt. And because it's so much fun and just has this constant feedback, it teaches you very, very quickly. But the way that a person works through fear in parkour is just breaking down whatever needs to be done. And I would say that would be advice for any major things that a person wants to do in any aspect of their life, is you have to find a way to break it down into small, manageable steps such that you are never overextending yourself too much to the point that you're in danger. Whether that's, for me, it's like financial danger or physical danger or mental danger. It's like, it's just slowly finding a way to safely push barriers constantly so that like you're always growing in some way. But like, let's say you want to do a jump from a rooftop, that's 10 meters in the air, 40 feet. If you fall, you'll probably die. That's a thing
Right.
I've done in parkour. I've jumped from roof to roof, but the gap is maybe only 3 meters, 8 or 9 or 10 feet, which like I can do that standing. But if I know that I can do that standing,
You can jump 3 meters standing.
yeah, you probably could too.
Really?
You look strong and athletic and fit.
Well, I consider myself to be that way.
Yeah.
But 3 meters sounds a lot to jump from standing.
Have you ever measured your jump? I
I
bet you're
think
not.
back
I bet
in
you're not far
school.
off.
Yeah. I gotta try to measure. That's so interesting.
Yeah. And I've got friends that can jump, probably 3.5 meters because they're a little bit taller and they're a little bit more naturally gifted. But like, if you look at it logically, if you can jump, whatever, let's say 3 meters standing, and you have a 3 meter jump over a rooftop where, if you fall, you're going to die, but it's not a standing jump. It's a running jump. So you have more speed, which means now you can jump 4 meters. And that's easy. Like, you could jump 5 meters if you really tried. But it's like, okay, so that you are well qualified to do this jump. So you're not physically challenged. You're only mentally challenged of going like, okay, maybe you're getting nervous. Maybe you can't control your limbs as you're standing on this rooftop. That's where you need to train up that fear through exposure, where you start, instead of 10 meters in the air, you start 1 meter. And you jump 3 meters, 1 meter in the air. And then you go 2 meters, and then 3 meters. And you just build it up. But you don't rush the process. That's the thing. That's what I said
Right.
about not overextending. Because if you overextend, that's when you're skipping steps. That's when you don't have complete control. Like, parkour athletes, again, are so safe because we have to be, or else you will seriously injure yourself, or you will fall off of a roof and no one will ever see you again. So, but it just comes down to breaking down every physical challenge into small pieces. You go, okay, how can I do this in a safer environment? How can I confirm that I can do this 100%? Like, no margin of error. That's what we like to work under. Is like, okay, if I'm going to do this jump, this rooftop jump, it can't be a maybe. It has to be a guarantee, which means I have to know that I could do this 100 times in a row before I try it once. And so it's just doing any safety precautions that you need to do in order to make sure that that's possible.
Yeah. Wow, I love that, breaking down into small manageable steps. And I think this can be applied to, pretty much anything in life, whatever
Yeah.
it is that you're facing in front of you that seems challenging or complicated, any area. Okay, how can we break this down into the step that I can do right now and then go on from there?
Exactly. That's huge.
So let me ask you, how do you stay physically fit and mentally prepared? So like, what are the habits, the protocols that are in your life that allow you to, be sharp and be physically fit as well?
So physically fit is, as a stuntman and parkour athlete, it's just a lot of exercise. So I'm trying to weight lift 3 times a week. That's like my goal. Weight lift 3 times a week, and then skills training 3 times a week. So skills training would be, some stunt skill, whether that's parkour, whether that's martial arts, whether that's gymnastics, whatever, boxing, some skills training, because as a stuntman, you have to perform a lot of different skills. So your skills always have to be top level. But that's just my life. I'm an athlete. I work out, I exercise. It's a part of my life and I love it. It keeps me fit and it allows me to do my job well and do my job safely. Now, when it comes to mentally fit, this is the tougher shell for me to crack, because I have always naturally been an athlete. I never really had to like, I have to force is the wrong word, but like I have to stay on top of my training. But it is a lot easier for me to go to the gym for 2 hours than it is for me to sit down and read a book or to journal or to meditate for an hour at a time or 2 hours. It's a lot easier for me to move than it is for me to sit still and focus. So that's where I've had to do the most amount of work, is trying to incorporate that into my life. So give me a moment. Let me show you some of the things I've gotten.
Please.
So I love personal productivity and self-development. So I've got a bunch of books now, but I can't get them all. But right now I'm reading Grit, which is a great book by Angela Duckworth. I just finished Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is another one. Atomic Habits is, I think, my favorite book that I've ever read. I would recommend to every single person on the planet to read Atomic Habits by James Clear. It is if we're talking about a life-changing book, like a life-changing book is a book that you read and then you change how you live your life or how you view things. And like that is a life-changing book. So reading, like I'm trying to read minimum 15 minutes a day. Some days I get it, some days I don't. Also, I track everything I have this board up in this corner here where I have my personal habits that I want to hit every day and whatever. So that kind of helps me try to keep track of everything. I'm journaling a lot. Because those are the difficult things for me, I know that it's even more important for me to do them, because as they say, in Grit, the more you do hard things, that is what makes you grow, is doing the hard things in your life. So if me as an athlete, if I'm always at the gym, that's not impressive, because that is easy for me to do that. There's no resistance for me to go to the gym. So it's actually more work for me to sit down and journal and read and meditate. But for somebody else, they could have the exact opposite problem. Maybe they're great at reading, they're great at journaling, but it's really hard for them to get up and get a workout in. And so for them, they're going to find the most growth in doing the hard thing, in going to the gym and doing a workout. So that is where my biggest struggles are right now. But it's fun, because on the days when I succeed, the main things I'm doing is in this journal when I'm writing, and I can't remember where I read this, if I read it or if I saw it on a YouTube channel. There's a YouTube channel by Ali Abdaal. Do you watch him at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, dude, that's great. I think I might have heard it on his channel maybe, but it's talking about, as we get older in life, and I'm in my late 20s now, we start to develop a lot of different identities. For me, it's stuntman, YouTuber, parkour athlete, I'm a son, I'm a brother, whatever your identities are, all these different responsibilities that you have to juggle. Is when I found the most success, it has been writing out each of those identities every week. So that's Sunday night, and then writing 3 things that I can do that week, 3 things per identity that will move those forward in some measurable, trackable way. That is a big thing, not a small thing. Not I'm going to respond to some YouTube comments. It's no, you're going to film a video. You're going to film a new video, or you're going to edit for 20 hours on one video or whatever, or you're going to release 3 YouTube shorts. Or for stuntman training, that could be okay, I need to go to the gym and I need to train this skill for 3 hours, or I need to send out 25 emails to stunt coordinators to try to network and get my name out there more. And so it's breaking down these identities, again, into small, manageable steps. If a person goes, okay, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a stuntman or an actor or a swimmer or whatever, that's such a grand, big thing. You can't act on that. It's okay, be a YouTuber right now. Go be a YouTuber. It's well, what does a YouTuber do? Okay, a YouTuber, they write scripts, they film videos, which means they have to learn about how to film videos. They need gear, they need to edit. So it's breaking down, again, these big big goals into small, manageable steps that actually push the needle forward and move your life in the direction that you want to go. And so that's when I found the most success, is when I was constantly doing that and being like, because there's always a million things we could be doing, a million things. But it's like, if I can just pick 3 things in a week to do and do them, that's the thing, and do them, then like that's when I feel the best. And that's usually when I like make strong trackable progress in all of those different identities.
I love that. Really. That's a new concept for me. I haven't heard about analyzing what are your like different identities are, and then taking actionable things that you can, you should actually do in a week, like 3 things, and then actually doing them. So I love that.
And like that's the thing, like if you pick 3 good things, it's not hard to do 3 things. Yeah. And if they are good things, if the things you are choosing to do are meaningful and have impact, then they will push those identities forward in some way.
Yeah, love that. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to break into the entertainment industry, particularly in the area of stunts?
So the way it works is usually the way people get into stunts. Everybody's story is a little bit different, but the general overarching theme is usually people who get into stunts in entertainment, in TVs and movies or whatever, they come in from one skill first. One skill. For me, that was parkour. For somebody else, it's gymnastics or martial arts or skydiving or motorcycle riding or horse riding. Like, there's so many different aspects of stunts. And just to clarify, so stunts in entertainment, like in movies and TV show, is pretty much anything that could be considered dangerous. So that's firearms, that's snowboarding, that even sports. A lot of times sports, they hire stunt performers to perform sports, like a soccer scene or a basketball scene where someone needs to trip and fall down, but they need a stunt person with a basketball background or water skiing or jet skiing, or like jet skiing. Is that a thing? Yeah, that's right. Jet ski. So like any physical activity pretty much could be stunts. So that is where I would recommend anybody start, is to like find a skill that they enjoy the most and get really good at it. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to let people know that you're good at it, because no one's going to hire somebody that they haven't seen proof that they can perform or demonstrate a skill. And so
how do you do that?
Well, for me, like, it's Instagram and it's YouTube. I've always taken like advertising and marketing very seriously, because I understand there's a lot of people on this planet. There's a lot of very talented people. There's a lot of people that want to do stunts, that want to be YouTubers, that want to be actors or whatever. But people need to know that. People need to be able to see that. So for me, anytime I had a skill that I wanted to demonstrate, and this is where like I learned, this is why I learned filmmaking, is because I wanted to take my skills and show the world, be like, hey, I can do parkour. I can do martial arts. I can do gymnastics. I need you to see that. I need you to believe me, so that now you can hire me and feel good and feel comfortable about giving me an opportunity. So yeah, anytime I had a skill that I wanted to show, I would just make a YouTube video that was centered around that skill, whether it's a parkour chase scene or a tutorial of me teaching 5 parkour moves, or like whatever skill I wanted to demonstrate. I would make videos that would demonstrate that skill. And I have been doing that for 7 years, for 10 years, more than that, because like this is a never ending game. You have to, like, this is the reason they call it show, not tell. You have to show people that you are talented, that you can be trusted with a job. That is a huge thing, that you can be trusted, and that you deserve a job. And the people that deserve it are the people that are working the hardest for it, and the people that have developed the most skills. So number 1 is develop one skill, and then you can branch out from there. I've now developed a lot of different skills, but it all started with one. Then you have to show people that skill. So that's social media, advertising, marketing. Like, I think we're now in a day and age where every single person needs to learn how to use a phone camera. They need to learn how to edit. They need to learn how to change formats. They need to understand the difference between slow motion and regular speed in order to film themselves. to put forward their skills in the best possible light so that the people watching go, oh wow, like that person's really good at gymnastics. If I'm the casting director and I want to show the director of this project, like I have to prove to them that they deserve the job. So as a stunt performer, the easier you make it for someone else to prove to someone else that you're good and that you deserve a job, the easier it's going to be. Because it's such a fast industry that like everybody is trying to just solve problems. Like if you imagine a movie, the movie goes, okay, we want to make a movie. That's the problem. And the faster you can be a solution, and the more people know and think that you're a solution, then the more likely it is that you're going to be brought on to a job. And so, yeah, you have to be a solution by you have to be good. People have to know that you're good. It has to be easy for someone to prove that you're good so that they can convince other people to hire you. And then it just becomes networking and having, as many high-level people know you, and that comes from being in the same location as them, training with them at gyms, learning from them, taking classes, continuing to prove to them that you are good and that you deserve jobs. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time, but that's with any career. Any career takes time.
It sounds to me like you're treating these social media outlets almost like your portfolio.
Completely.
Where
100%.
Where you're like, hey, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm good at, which then opens up doors to opportunities. And whenever the decision makers are considering you for a job, it's easy for them to make that decision because they're like, oh, look at this guy. Look what he does. Like, that's pretty cool. Let's put him on the whitelist.
Exactly. I want to make it so easy for someone to hire me, which it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like I've built up websites. I have 8 different demo reels. I have a parkour reel. I have a stunt reel. And like a reel is just like a minute or a minute and a half of your best things of that particular skill to show someone. So I've got a parkour reel, a stunt reel, an acting reel, a commercial reel, a flipping reel, a weapons reel, a martial arts reel. It's like, that's a lot of work to do that. But if someone else hasn't done that, how much easier is it to hire me when I've got this massive database of proof, which is like, that's what it is. Like people want proof. And so I understand that. So I continually do what I can to have as much proof out there as possible to make it, again, very easy for someone to trust me and recommend me for someone else. And then you just do good work. Like when you start working, do a good job, be a good person, be nice to people, be helpful, say thank you. And that has worked out really, really well for me. A lot of the same people have called me and offered me jobs, or someone that I have worked for has then recommended me to someone else. And over 5 to 6 years of that, now I've been very honored and very fortunate with having worked with a lot of great people that have believed in me, that then either again continue to hire me or recommend me to other people. And now I work in Hollywood.
I love that. And to me, that sounds like you are a very hardworking person, and that what makes you stand out from other people in the industry who want to get their leg in, but they don't have that dedication to go out and create so many different reels for each one specific thing. Let's say they create one general reel, right, and then they're trying to apply for a job, let's say, like you said, for weapons or whatever, and they don't have that, right? So if you send in your portfolio that is more specific to the job, you're more likely to actually get it because you've put in more work initially than the other person.
Exactly. And a lot of it comes down to, again, like you said, like understanding how this works. And like, this is a game and you have to play the game. Yeah. And the game is you have to convince people that you're worth it. But also, like, the reason I work so hard is because I know that this isn't a guarantee. Like, nothing is a guarantee in life. No job, no relationship, anything is a guarantee. And like, as soon as you start to think that something is a guarantee, like, that's when someone who's working harder than you is going to pass you, is going to overtake you, is going to get that job, or whatever it may be. And so, like, I just operate under the assumption that this is not a guarantee, and that if I want this, if I really want this, I have to work at it every day. And so I do that, and that has served me very well in the 6 or 7 years that I've been doing this, and continues to serve me well. But that doesn't mean that I now think this is a guarantee. I will continue to do the same things that I have been doing that will, have me learning more, continuing to advertise myself and put myself out there, take chances, because I know that there are so many people that want this life and want this opportunity. Like, there's a lot of competition. And so, like, it just comes down to who wants it more and who's going to work harder for it. And I want that to be me.
I love that. So let me ask you this. How do you balance between the creative aspects of your work with the business side of things? So like you said, marketing and self-promotion.
You said the creative aspect and the business aspect.
Yes, exactly.
That is tough. I actually think I excel more in the business side. I've always been very logical in how I think and how I operate. So the creative aspect has been more difficult. But sometimes, first off, these things right here, phone.
Okay.
I cannot be creative if this is near me. This is a distraction. Every Instagram message, every YouTube comment, every message from my family. It's amazing, but every single thing that distracts you from this, humans are creative. We have creative brains. It is how we have become, the alpha species on this planet, is because we can solve problems, we can think, we're smart. So every single person, I believe, has that in them. But you cannot tap into your brain if it is constantly distracted. And so when I find myself struggling to be creative, usually it's because I'm distracted. And so that's when I take this and I just throw it on my bed. I lock it outside my room. I am trying to actively reduce distraction in every aspect of my life. That means when I drive my car, I don't drive with the radio on. I literally drive in silence, because that is attempted distraction. When I sometimes I'll even turn the volume off on my phone. So as I'm scrolling down Instagram or something, you don't hear anything. So it's less distracting. You can turn your phone black and white so the colors aren't so distracting. If we think about all the different things in this world that are trying to take our attention from us, that are taking our time and our thoughts, it is infinite. It is every song, it is every commercial, it is every YouTube video, it is every podcast, even this. But a person has to weigh what they do with, is it bringing them value? This is something great. I believe in something like this because, we're talking about important topics that people can learn from and get value from. So I'm really trying to work hard in my life about categorizing what are the things that bring me value and what are the things that are simply just distraction. As great as that funny meme is that you want to send me of that goat or that guy falling off his snowboard, I just don't care anymore, because my present thought is more important than this 5-second laugh that is going to completely pull me out of any creative state of mind, any future thinking that is going to allow me to create the next YouTube video, that's going to allow me to plan a new aspect of my business, whatever it may be. So in terms of being creative, it is very easy for me to be creative when I have no distraction. So that's if I wake up in the morning, 7 a.m., no one's awake yet, no one is sending me messages, nobody is sending me emails or whatever, people in my house are asleep. I will sit in this chair and I will not move. I will just think. I will literally just think. And it is so amazing how every time, like you said, it's hard, like getting in that cold shower or that cold lake. Like it feels hard, like, okay, I'm going to sit in this chair and I'm going to think. It's like, and then you sit there and for 2 minutes you're like, this is stupid, I don't feel anything. And then 5 minutes in, like your brain just, like my brain just starts turning because it's such an active like muscle. It needs to work. And so again, like when it's not being distracted, it's like, okay, it just starts thinking of stuff. So that's where I think of my YouTube videos. That's where I think of, I mean, that's where I pour the most amount of my creativity, is in my YouTube videos. My training that I do is much more structured. That's much more business. It's like, okay, I need to learn this skill so I can get this job, so I can work for this person. It's mainly the YouTube that is the creative aspect of my life. And yeah, so that's how I go about it, is like earliest in the morning, it's easiest for me to be creative. I remove distractions. I sit in this chair and then I think. And then as I think of funny stuff or things I want to do, I write them down so I don't have to remember them anymore. And now they're written down, or I have a massive like file in my phone of all these different videos that I want to do, or people that I want to work with, or scripts that I'm currently writing. Yeah.
I love that. And myself personally, I also do similar things. So for example, I have all the notifications turned off on my phone, and even further than that, for example, using your computer, right? You might think, okay, you just, you browse the internet, you try to get work done. But I believe that actually we need to learn how to properly work online, because there's so many entities competing for our attention. It's ridiculous. So like some of the things that I have are like, an ad block, right? So if you go into a website, you are not bombarded with all these ads,
That's great.
Or
right.
like one of those things on YouTube where, it takes away the right hand column. So when you're watching a video, you're not seeing the right
suggested
hand
videos.
Column. Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Right?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
So you're just watching the one thing that you want to watch, that you went to YouTube, to YouTube to watch, and you're not like, oh, that could be cool, or that seems fun, or that seems interesting, and then 1 hour later you're still there.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing on that topic is like same, because I use, you and I, we use YouTube a lot, right? Another thing is I have, it's called like a Facebook news eradicator or something. And there's like many different websites that you can use. And YouTube is one of them. Is when you go on to YouTube, you don't see all of the recommended videos. You just see a black screen, and there's just one quote on top about, some quote from a person that is really inspirational or something.
Sure.
Removing
cool.
removing as much distraction as possible, so you allow yourself, like you said, to be creative. And when you said about the thing that the phone distracts you a lot, I find that as well. Although it's really hard for me sometimes to realize that it's plus it's also very addictive.
Right.
So if I'm trying to write a script, like the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I can't think of anything, like I'm stuck, and then the natural impulse is to, let me just
exactly,
So,
right. And like this is gonna be, I think this is gonna be an ever-growing issue, just like with every single person, especially with younger kids growing up, like that have had a supercomputer since they were 10 or 11 or 12. Like the phone that I had when I was 12 could only send text messages and phone calls. Like you couldn't get on the internet. You didn't have Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and whatever. So this is going to be something that we, like, as big as it is, like as a species, is going to have to learn how to navigate using technology for our benefit without letting it control us. And
I love that. I think that's a big issue, especially for kids, like nowadays, for the younger generation, ourselves included, is how do we use technology to our advantage and not be a target of, on the other side, and not be sucked in, right? So you can use it like it's super, like we live in the best of times ever, right?
Yeah.
But we also need to know how to properly use technology and not be used by the technology.
Yeah, it's a new thing. It's like a new danger that hasn't existed. Like, yeah, like where
And I
every
think there's
single
going to be-
person that just has this insane supercomputer in their pocket at all times.
And I think there's going to be growing demand for programs and for coaching on how to actually, be more focused and
I
reduce
agree.
distractions.
I've seen a lot of them. I've thought about signing up for them. Could be like that will determine a person's entire life, is their ability to think and their ability to focus. Like,
I agree.
Every single thing a person you want to do will come down to that. It will come down to your ability to think and your ability to focus. Whether it's athletic prowess, whether it's starting a business, whether it's saving money, whether it's solving any problem in your life. Your car breaks down, you need to fix a window, your pipe is leaking. Is your ability to gather knowledge, focus, and make decisions. And so like anything a person can do to improve that, their focus and their decision-making ability, like that will bleed into every area of your life.
Love that. So let me ask you, how do you see the entertainment industry evolving in the next few years? And how are you adapting to these changes?
That is a big question.
Loaded.
And this completely stems off of what we were just talking about with
Right.
social media. Up until, let's say, 10 years ago, we didn't have, YouTube at this level. Like, we had, like, fun YouTube videos, like Smosh, like, and Ray William Johnson, and way, way, way early YouTube channels. But they were not competing with TV and movies and commercials and whatnot. That is not the case anymore. If we look at how much content, whatever that content is, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TikTok, whether it's a commercial, like the amount of content that is being produced, I don't even want to know what it is now compared to what it used to be. But like, you have all of these different channels, all of these different mediums that are competing against each other, these entities. We now have Disney Plus and Hulu and Apple TV and Fox, and then every YouTube channel and every TikTok channel and Netflix, and like it just goes on and on and on. And now it's like these TV stations used to only have to compete against like movies, because they're like, all right, cool, like nothing else exists. And so now TV, because of it, was very, very profitable, because it was very easy to take attention, like we were talking about, where families would gather around the TV, whatever, Tuesday nights, Sunday nights, and watch their favorite TV show. That's not the case anymore. Now you've got, a father is watching one thing on his phone, and the mother is watching a YouTube channel over here, and the son is on, watching their favorite gamer, Twitch streamer, and then the daughter is watching something else on Instagram. Like the amount of platforms that exist is insane compared to what it used to be. And so all of that is now the entertainment industry. Like, the entertainment industry is people watching other people for entertainment. This is why a lot of big name brands are going into influencer marketing, is because they are seeing individuals that have built up their own followings and, are trying to sell their products through partnering with an individual, which is a huge thing. Like, it used to be that, like, whatever, any major commercial with like a car company like Honda, like they would just bring a celebrity onto their platform. Like, okay, Honda wants to make a commercial, we're gonna hire a sports celebrity to come onto our commercial. Now it's the other way around. Now Honda is like going to a sports celebrity being like, hey, can we, I mean, like, I'm not saying that Honda actually does this, but like, these are what the companies are doing now. They are going to the people and they're going, hey, can you put us on your channel because you have built something? So it's definitely going to become much more individually oriented on I believe like smaller groups and smaller teams, and like the names that they build and the entertainment and the value that they provide for their audiences. But what that means, I think, for the entertainment industry in general is, if we assume that the amount of money has not changed that has to go into movies, TV shows, whatever, because every company, they're just trying to sell their product. A movie is a product. They're trying to sell it overseas so people watch it so that the movie production company can make money. Same thing with TV shows, so they can get money from advertisers. Same thing with a TikTok, whatever. Like, everybody's trying to sell their product, whether their product is themselves, whether their product is a service, whether it's a product like a movie. And so if the amount of money has not changed that goes to the entertainment industry, that means that across the board, I believe, in general, it will be less. Like, movies will start to be less profitable. I believe TV shows will start to be less profitable. Influencer marketing, because that's a new thing, that will start to become very profitable because they're taking a piece of that money pie and they're turning the marketing towards influencer marketing. So it feels like a scary time for a person to only be in the entertainment industry if they're new. Like,
Right.
There has been, because I've only been here 6-7 years, but based on what I know from like the more veteran people I've seen in the industry, veteran is in like they've been here 10-20 years, they talk about how like payment and compensation has been slowly going down for like 20 years. I think this is only going to accelerate that. So like, as a person who works in entertainment, that is scary, but I also don't just have entertainment skills. Like, I have filmmaking skills. I have a YouTube channel. I'm building up my own platform, and just trying to do everything that I can to, again, be valuable in many different regards so that people, you know, they know what I can do. They trust me. They give me opportunities. It's easy for me to get hired. So it's a big question. You know, at the same time, as a caveat, at the same time, there's also more opportunity than ever because there is now Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu and all of these giant companies are trying to make things, and they need people to make things. They need talented people who know what they're doing. So it's like, I think maybe like we'll call it like compensation per job might start going down, but there will be a lot more jobs, and there will continue to be more jobs because there are so many companies and organizations that are trying to make things, and they need talented people to help them make those things.
Love it. And you know, Mr. Beast, he talked about that like a 30-second ad placement during the Super Bowl costs, I think, at like $6 or $7 million.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, Google search now, 113 million viewers watched the Super Bowl, right? In 2023. Now, Mr. Beast,
how many? He's getting like 100 million views on a YouTube video.
Yeah, he gets like over 120, 130 million views on pretty much every video he uploads in the first month, right? And an ad placement with Mr. Beast doesn't cost 6-7 million. It costs probably way less. I don't know all the ad rates, but I would assume so, right? So it's interesting how it's shifting. And that also, what you said about how, you know, I was thinking about the barrier to entry to start creating something, right? Like, think about it when we were young, when we were kids, right? Because I think you and I are the same age, to get into the entertainment industry or, you know, onto the TV, you probably needed, you know, to go out and mingle with people and get into their inner circles and, you know, be on good terms. And just, it was really like the barrier to entry was really hard because it was controlled by executives in the companies, right? Now, if you have this thing,
you're good.
You do this, you press the little plus button in the top right corner of YouTube, the whole world, any person in the world with the internet connection can view your video, your creation.
Yeah.
So I think that liberates also create. So sure, the ad rates are probably going down, but that liberates a lot of creators and people who do want to start creating videos or content or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it I believe the term is it democratizes the industry. Like, where the entertainment industry used to be localized. You had to be in Los Angeles or in New York or in Hong Kong or whatever the other like entertainment hubs around the world are. But like you said, anybody with a phone now and an idea and friends and a free editing software that you can get on a cheap computer, like, it can put their ideas out, which is awesome for the world. It is awesome
Yeah.
for the world because it now means that people who never had that opportunity or the ability get to explore that side of themselves. And then if they are great, people will see that they're great and they will get opportunities because of that. No matter where you live, it doesn't matter what country you live in. If you work hard, you develop the skills and are creative and are actually talented and work hard for that thing, then like you will get opportunities from that, which is great again for the world. But it means people who have relied on just being local to the entertainment industries, it's going to be a little bit more difficult now because now again it's available globally. And now instead of competing against people in just Los Angeles, now you're competing against people in the entire world. It's a lot easier still for Los Angeles to hire people in Los Angeles, but now like people will develop the means to come to LA, to come to New York or whatever, because they will establish themselves in their cities and hopefully, receive great opportunities for what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, and this also led me to this idea about like the world is becoming this like, village, right? Where yeah, really when like for example, let's say that someone breaks through on the internet, with some kind of a stunt. Like I was recently been consuming content about it's called death diving, right? It's a Norwegian sport. Have you seen that one?
One of my great friends he's a death diver, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that looks so amazing. I would love to learn that. But like, if they're making a movie about that, right? Or if they're making a movie and they need something like that, right? They don't need to look for people, for example, in Los Angeles. They can look at the top people, for example, who are doing YouTube on that.
Death diving.
10 hours flight. They come from Oslo to Los Angeles, and boom, they're on the set.
And they're the best in the world, like or whatever.
Exactly.
And they've been easily found because they've put themselves out there. You're completely right.
Yeah, and before, like imagine before the internet, how would a movie, an executive or director would find that Norwegian, in Norway, right? He needed to know someone. It would be much more difficult. They needed to fly there or whatever, right? So I love the world we live in. It's a lot more competition, but there's a lot less. There's a much smaller barrier to entry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy to think about. It's cool.
All right,
it's crazy.
Finally, the last question that I would like to ask you is, what are some of your personal goals that you've set for yourself in your career, and how do you plan to achieve them? I'm talking about 2023. So for this year.
This year. Behind me, I've got a checked boxes for every month of the year: January, February, March, April. Mainly, that is about uploading YouTube videos. That is
okay.
That is because my stunts is my work. YouTube is my business. YouTube is my business. Like that's where I get to unleash every aspect of myself, of my creativity, of my ability, of my skills, whatever. So that is my business. Stunts and entertainment is my work. So my main goals are around my business. That is my YouTube channel and social media.
So do you have like a subscriber goal or like a revenue goal or something?
For me, the goal is to create a system.
Okay.
The external measures like subscribers, like they will come with a good system. A system is how you shoot your videos, how you script your videos, how you work with other editors, how you go through rough drafts, how you create your thumbnails. Like those are the systems that have to be like really, really ironed out in order to make this like, a stronger machine that doesn't just rely on me, myself, and my time. So I've got a couple big videos that I'm in the middle of, but they are showing the holes in the system that I have right now, because the system that I have right now is mostly me. And it's like these things are now getting to the point where it can't just be me anymore, or at least to do what I want to do, it can't just be me. So like I would say the goal is to create a system that allows me to work faster, better, smarter, more efficiently, and just grow, in every aspect. And then you can hit those subscriber goals, those monetary goals, or whatever. But it's mainly like I've got a big dance video that I'm editing right now that I'm really excited about, like finishing and getting that up, and then I'm doing like a big physical challenge video after that one. But they require a strong system. So that's kind of where most of my focus is right now, is how do I begin to build a team? How do I grow as a person and as a leader so that I can lead a team, so that I can communicate effectively, that I can communicate my ideas, that I can collaborate and work well with others. So that requires a lot of self-growth. And so that's why I'm doing things like reading and journaling and meditating and working on doing the hard things, because leading a team will not be easy. It will be something very new in my life. And so I want to grow such that I will be a good leader.
Yeah, love that. If you ever come up with a video idea, I travel to Finland to do X, Y, and Z, you're very welcome to come, and I'll be your best tour guide in Finland.
Dude, that would be really, really cool. That would be really cool. I hope to get to meet you sometime. This has been amazing. I really, really appreciate talking with you, and I feel like we're already like really great friends now.
Likewise, Omar. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching, guys.
I'm gonna leave all of your links down in the description.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye.